Is it related to you? Are you sick?
No. Not that I know of. She didn't tell me why.
Oh, well, should I take my pouch then? It's an important question. I should still take it though, but it's a little heavy. All right, I'm leaving without it.
I think I have a problem with going through your friend's things. I hope whatever you're looking for, it's worth it.
I'm trying to find information about the past. It's personal, okay?
Forget it. You couldn't understand. The officers, they aren't like us. They're above all that. Lieutenant?
At your command, Lieutenant.
Hello, Mancer.
Hello? I found some of your father's letters.
I knew it. Tell me.
Most of the correspondence was friendly. They were very close. However, there was some tension between them over time. Some letters gloss over an expedition that they had done together, but what surprised me the most is when your father talks about a boy who was actually Scott's son. The last letter I found is a bit bizarre. I didn't really understand what he meant.
What did he mean? Do you remember?
Your dad begged Scott to stop the madness, warning that his wife's divorce was only the beginning of what he would lose if he couldn't face the truth. That it was too late for his son. He seemed to think Scott was on the verge of self-destruction.
It's true that it's rather mysterious. Scott, a son. Did you know?
No, he never told me about him. He obviously lost him. No doubt it's still a touchy subject.
We have to find out what this is all about. You have to ask his wife. Did my father really mean to interfere in his family drama? Maybe that's why he disappeared.
Do you know Captain Eliza?
What a woman. Nothing gets by her. Too old-fashioned and boring. She doesn't laugh often, but at least she's fair. She's your captain, right? Believe me, it could have been worse.
Did you get to meet Colonel Victor?
Yeah, once, during a medal ceremony. Not exactly an open book, but I doubt anyone questions his die-hard patriotism. Why are you asking?
He came to talk to me. I wonder what he has in mind.
Is he freaking you out? You one of those people who are afraid of being watched? Don't be. He was most likely just interested in an officer with high prospects. If you're clean, you've got no reason to be worried, right?
Do you know Colonel Mancer?
The one whom your colleagues call Great Master? Sounds a little cultish, huh? I've seen him a couple times. That old man looks nice, but beyond that, I don't know. Ain't easy to figure you out. You Technomancers are always by yourselves. You probably know him better than me.
What do you know about the Vori?
That they're a bunch of assholes. They're behind all the shit going on around the city. Extortion, forced prostitution, corruption. The worst stuff out there, I bet you there's a Vori behind it. If I were you, I wouldn't get close to those guys. the best way to end up completely corrupt or completely dead.
You travel a lot. You must know the merchants well, no?
Well, actually, not really. I sometimes see a few of them on remote roads. Those guys crisscross the planet, and not only the shadow paths. They use sand sails, which don't give them as much flexibility as a rover. Still pretty smart, though. They don't even seem to mind traveling at night, unlike most corporate folks, because Mars is their landscape. They know it better than most. Ever hear about their secret city? Dunno if that's true. I respect their being free and well-traveled, but I've never had the opportunity to chat with them. And I'm cautious of people who are not loyal to anything.
What do you think of Scott? You know him well.
Know him well? That's an exaggeration. He doesn't actually say much about himself. Most of the time, he's on his own planet, and before he gets back down to Mars, well, we lose radio communication. He's nice. He regularly checks in to see how I am. He used to bring me gifts when I was young, but he can't help commenting on the chances I take and all. It pisses me off. I like him, but he's not my father, I mean.
What do you think of Jeff?
He's kind of a simpleton, don't you think? Too much of an ass-kisser. I wonder if he's that straightforward. Anyway, he's just a hick trying to get promoted.
Can I ask you about David?
Well, still shell-shocked by the front. I've seen hundreds of them. He blames the whole planet. He's probably not such a bad guy, but by blaming everybody, he pisses everybody off.
I bet you know the slums very well, given it's where your shed is.
Well, yeah, and so what? You must know the place better than I do. I know that you used to be a rogue before, despite a few old, unfortunate shacks that collapsed. It hasn't really changed. It's a sort of ant farm where derelicts who can't afford to live elsewhere pile on top of each other. And there's a lot of ants.
Can you tell me more about the sheds?
You're quite curious. That's where we park, repair, and pamper the rovers. They're under close watch because we can't take any chances with the slums all around. The Vori could sneak in and steal stuff. But we couldn't put them elsewhere anyway. We're not gonna cross the city every time we need to get out. Anyhow, if there's something you should do when you get into my sheds, it's this. When you come in, don't touch anything. Don't get close to the rovers, and if you want something, you ask me.
You must have traveled a lot. Could you tell me more about what you discovered?
You know, when I'm being sent out to explore, it's for prospecting. I drive around, take samples, map out the area, that kind of thing. I discovered 2 mines last year. We'll put them into service once we connect them with the shadow paths. Wow, it doesn't sound as exciting now that I think about it. But I don't care. Despite all of this, I can go almost anywhere. I see landscapes that others will never see, and sometimes I stumble across amazing places. I'm not doomed to remain under a shell of...
I'm sorry to... You Angela Seeker, Scott's wife?
Ex-wife?
Nothing bad. He's
A friend?
just looking for some information on one of his friends. Mark.
Get out! Get out! What right do you have?
Я не буду перезагружать, чтобы проверить, что диалоги там. Я сразу выберу науку. Хочу посмотреть, что там за проблема.
Sorry to bug you again, but Listen, I think Mark's disappearance was tied to Scott's research, and your son. And I know you were a researcher too, so I'm hoping you'll be able to help me understand the research better, and maybe even find your old friend.
The drive to dissect even the smallest details, to try to understand how and why. That thirst once drove me too, but I let it go. There was no well deep enough to satisfy that thirst. I was never as involved as Scott. In truth, I began to give up my work once we had our son. The focus of my research had been the study of animal mutations with the goal of vaccine production. And always wondered if... Because of that, I had been the conduit that carried the infection to my son. Scott was more interested. The second our son showed signs, though, I completely stopped my research. If I hadn't told Scott, he would never even have noticed. And his answer, he really believed that with his work in genetics and mine in vaccination, that we could save our son. But I was too devastated to help him. All I wanted to do was spend every second with our son before he was taken away from us. Which, of course, happened. And Scott and Mark took off on a wild goose chase that he was sure would end in a cure. I didn't get it. There wasn't anything he needed that he didn't have access to in his life. And while he was off, I was alone, and waited, and waited, and eventually got tired of it. So I asked for a divorce. And then they finally came back, with nothing to show for it. But soon Mark took off again to find what That's all I know. I never found out what their research was on, and honestly, I just want to forget.
Hell, I can feel for what the old man's been through. I've known some folks myself who went through the same thing. Terrible thing. Breaks couples up, you know. Stress of never being able to have kids again.
Why never again?
Because they sterilize families who had it to make sure they don't have no more. It's sad, but it's the only way to protect our own kind. At least now I understand why the professor's so, you know.
Hello, Mancer.
Hello? I talked to Scott.
So, what did she...
It's an awful story. Her son. Anyway, their son was struck by mutation. They took him away from them, of course, but it made Scott go crazy, and he was convinced that he could find a remedy. He asked for your father's help, so they left together. Their exploration apparently didn't lead to anything concrete for the boy, and Scott descended into madness. And then one day, Mark left. His ex thinks that it was to...
Shit. So my father's disappearance is related to that poor kid? It's really awful what they must have gone through. That explains a lot about why he's so crazy, and also why he behaves as if... Thank you, Zach. That doesn't answer all of my questions, far from it. But I have a better grasp of what happened. My father disappeared by helping his best friend, who was going through a rough patch and wanted to heal his child. I'm gonna think about all this.
You're not like other girls, are you?
Is that supposed to be a compliment? Or are you being a
Because you've got a hell of a temper.
And what? You'd rather have a nice little girl who knows her place? Does what you tell her?
I'm pretty sure I didn't say that.
I didn't say you did. Otherwise you'd have your ass handed to you. I don't let myself get pushed around. It's not a bad thing.
You already back, Lieutenant Zach?
Captain, all Aurora tunnels were destroyed. If they're gonna get back into the city, they'll have to come up with another way.
I knew you wouldn't let me down, Lieutenant. Find Ryan and get your pay. It was well earned. Colonel Ian Mancer came by looking for you. Hope this isn't going to be a habit, Lieutenant. His problems aren't yours anymore. You're part of my unit now. We clear?
Of course. I'll go see him on my own time, not yours, Captain. Hi.
Lieutenant?
Captain Elise.
Indeed, I've been expecting...
Zachariah, a pleasure as always. What may I do for you?
I wanted to talk to you about something.
What about?
We're looking for a scientist who disappeared. Name's Charles Seeker. All I found is some of his research. Seems he was studying Technomancers before getting arrested and sent to a camp.
Charles Seeker? Yes, the geneticist. Geneticists pose a risk. Scientific discoveries are always threatening to expose our secrets. Your friend Scott even worked on the same research years ago. Never found out what Scott did or didn't discover, though. He ended up drinking himself into irrelevance. So I stopped worrying. Whatever research you found, make sure no one sees it. Could be our downfall.
I've returned, Great Master, with the relic from the Aurora evacuation. It's a tablet filled with text, and I don't have a clue how to decipher it.
A glorious day. You have no idea what this means, Zachariah. The language is indeed difficult, and most no longer have the knowledge or ability to understand it. Most, but not me. I will begin deciphering immediately. We will know soon enough the vast wealth of secrets it holds. Sean was certainly right in his appraisal of you. Your worth has already proven to be infinitely valuable. A word of warning, Zachariah. Words spreading about your missions. Things you've been able to accomplish, filled with troubling details that imply you have a mole in your midst. If there is an ASC spy amongst your ranks, he will not only know our secret, but eventually share it back to his master. We will, in no uncertain terms, be lost. All will be lost. So take care. And take care of it. Sooner rather than later.
Thank you for the warning. I assure you, I will get to the root of this. Are you so sure that it's a spy?
Indeed. The details of your mission were so specific that they were assuredly gained firsthand. So unless you are spreading the information yourself, who else is left but Captain Eliza and your men? Whoever it is, make sure they see nothing else. Ensure that our secret is kept safe.
How are you, Zachariah?
I'm fine. And you?
Good.
Gotta find that spy. Maybe I should ask around.
Lieutenant?
I want to know my men better. Tell me a bit about yourself.
Oh, great. Show and tell. Yay.
What do you think about Jeffrey Hunter?
He's a village idiot who thinks he can brown-nose his way to a promotion. Fucking reject. And no, he ain't my friend, if you haven't pieced that together.
What do you do when you're off duty?
Nothing special. See my folks, I guess. They ain't getting any younger, so... And I give most of my paycheck to them, because I'm the only one they got left. Sister died. And I ain't married, so... When I ain't with them, I'm at the bar, drowning the shitstorm that my life's become. Not exactly a picture-perfect life, but it's mine. And hell, I get paid enough to help them out and buy my own drinks, so... What's there to complain about?
I'm gonna leave you alone. Seems you'd rather be that way anyway.
At your command, Lieutenant.
Have a second to...
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, just you and me.
Wow, that's... yeah.
How do you like Dave? You guys get along?
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, he's not always the happiest guy in the world, but it's probably because he didn't have an easy life. He's always talking about how his life was nothing before 126 and joining the army, and he's kind of bitter, but he's probably got a right to be. I always cheer him up, though, hoping he'll loosen up over time. At your command, Lieutenant.
You have a good childhood?
Oh yeah, you know it, Lieutenant. Really nice growing up, running around in the fields. Father gave me a crossbow, and I spent my time helping the farmers shoot critters hurting their crops. They were good times, Lieutenant, but everybody's got to grow up and move on. There was a lot of hunters in Green Hope, too. Plus, I always dreamed of being a soldier. Mostly, though, because there was a girl back home who loved men in uniform, so... Off I went to the big city to join up. And, you know, since I was a sharpshooter, they signed me up and sent me here. Still not used to it. All the buildings, all the folks, all the concrete. But I'm happy, though.
So what's your life like when...
Tell you the truth, Lieutenant? Not much to tell. I try to visit the city, make some friends. You know, because I don't really know too many folks yet. And my whole family's back in Green Hope, which is kind of too far to travel for my leave. And, oh yeah, there's also, you know, I try to still do some hunting. Though there's not much more than small critters in the underworks.
Colonel Ian Mancer came by looking for you. Hope this isn't going to be a habit, Lieutenant.
Of course. I'll go see him on my... Have a moment, Captain?
Depends what you need it for.
Just want to get to know you better, Captain.
I don't usually mix business and pleasure, Lieutenant, but... Ask away and we'll see which...
А вот тут я буду загружаться, если надо будет.
Colonel Ian Mancer came by looking...
Of course. Have a moment?
Depends what you need it...
Just want to get to know you, but...
I don't usually...
That was your rise to captain?
Over time. But by no special action by me. Graduated as a corporal, and thanks to the brave men underneath me, their success and missions became mine in rank. No heroic feats to dazzle you with in stories. Just a lot of time and dedication that I'm proud of just the same.
You from Ophir?
Born and raised. Father was an officer. Mother was a quartermaster. And I've rarely ventured outside the walls but for a few scattered missions. Sound familiar, Lieutenant?
Very familiar, Captain. Except my parents weren't officers.
Which makes your rise even more noble, Lieutenant.
What do you think of us?
Honestly, Lieutenant? I'm not quite sure yet. You Technomancers are new to me. Undoubtedly special, and capable of feats my other units couldn't dream of accomplishing, but... time will tell. That said, I've been quite impressed. I thought it was the definition of insanity to send you and so few of your men on some of those missions. Missions I would have anticipated needing 10 times the manpower for. So far, you've proven me wrong. A rare feat in itself. So even though it's taking some time getting used to, I couldn't be happier you're one of my troops.
Can I ask about your relationship with ASC?
Tread carefully, Lieutenant. One might start to wonder the purpose of your questions. But here's my answer. We're all forced to work with them, but it doesn't mean I have to be happy about it. Too much power too quickly leads to arrogance. They're brash and too quick to act. And quite frankly, as they've risen in power, it's no coincidence that the dissenters, deviants, and rebels have risen in numbers. They're a great source of intel, however they get it. I sleep better at night not knowing the means. But I've always thought the army was strength enough, that the ASC was overkill. I trust you won't repeat anything I've said, Lieutenant. I'd hate for both of us to find ourselves enemies of the state over a little frank conversation.
My lips are sealed, Captain, and I appreciate your candor and trust, more than you know. This must be a pic of his parents. And his damn notes. Bastard's got my whole schedule in here. And the names of every single person we saw together. Everything's clean in here. Looks just like the captain's work. Nothing that implies she's working with the ASC. Feels like a Green Hope souvenir stand. Kid must be missing home. Unless being messy's a crime, though. Doesn't look like he's doing anything wrong. Must have been Dave keeping tabs on me the whole time. Never would have believed it. Guess if you could spot them, though, they wouldn't be so damn powerful.
Lieutenant?
I know you're a drinking man, so what do you say we go grab one together?
Looks like it's my lucky day. Sure, why the hell not? Lead the way. So why don't you cut the bull and tell me why we're really here?
Sure.
You've been spying on me, Dave, and reporting everything back to Victor. I don't like rats. That's not all right with me.
And what? You think I ever had a choice in the matter? Think I had the option to say no?
I don't care. All I know is they got all the intel they wanted on me from one of my own soldiers, and I don't know why. What's your angle, Dave? You bitter you got a Mancer as your lieutenant? I thought we were past all that. What'd they promise you? Promotion? Better pay?
Nothing but a promise they wouldn't hurt my parents. Is that a good enough reason? I don't like the ASC. Don't like what they're doing to Abundance. Don't like what they're doing to me. I don't like the deal they offered, and I don't like I didn't have a choice but to accept it. I ain't got no one but my folks since my sister died. Not that I expect you to shed a tear for me, but if I gotta choose between them and you, sorry, brother. You're on the losing end of that. If it helps, though, I don't think you're the full prick you were before we had this little chat. In fact, I might even have liked you in another time and place. But you're in deep shit now. And it's shit I don't want to get pulled into with you.
I don't want your blood on my hands, David. But I can't let you keep doing what you're doing. So I'm just gonna tell you to get the hell out of Ophir and don't look back.
I don't... Sure. Yeah, sure. Bye, Lieutenant.
Zachariah, a pleasure as always.
I found the mole. David Ward was running lines for the...
In these times, spies are everywhere. They used to be like rats, but now bear more resemblance to cockroaches. Should you see one, you can be certain 100 more reside in the walls, each placed there while their arms were twisted by the ASC. So, what happened with this Ward?
I couldn't find it in myself to kill him, so I released him and let him run, like a rat. I would assume he's still running, and we'll never see him in Ophir again.
The full blame cannot be cast on him. There are few who the ASC cannot bend to their will. We'll cross our fingers. Hopefully this soldier is gone for good and does not find himself arrested before he should escape.
Lieutenant, I was told Dave Ward has gone AWOL. And it...
Sorry, Cap. I haven't got the slightest clue.
I see. This is bad. I have no choice but to declare him a deserter. I'm afraid there'll be gossip that you can't earn the respect of your men, and the Army's reputation will take it. I warned you to keep your head down, Lieutenant. Don't know what you did, but Colonel Victor was having you tailed during your missions, and now he's got a shitload to say about it, and none of it's good. I tried defending you, but you defused the rebellion, but in a way that makes you seem pretty pro-mutant. Now, I told you myself, I'd give you a chance to explain, but you better talk quick. In the ASC, there's zero tolerance for mutant sympathy. And if you don't have a different version to tell, Victor's hinting at collateral damage.
That's a damn lie. I don't know why he'd lie, but it's...
I don't think you want to go down that path, Lieutenant. That's a serious accusation to level at a superior. Might want to think Victor also states you voluntarily jeopardized the lives of the officials you were charged with protecting. Want to explain that?
How do I explain something that's not... If I put those officials' lives in more danger, I'd have been risking my men's lives and mine as well. Why would I do that?
And the claims that you've been hiding vital intel for the sole benefit of your fellow Technomancers. Like an important research site on the shadow path of Aurora that didn't even register a line item in your reports?
Captain, the only thing I've ever done is accomplish the missions you gave me. Nothing more, nothing less. Never concealed anything, or had any—
I know what you've accomplished. Also know what he's saying. And even if he's not a fan of Technomancers, that alone wouldn't motivate him to make all this up. And the list of accusations and the details is long. Like your report on the deserters. Less truth than lies. Almost more lies than ink. Never would have...
Captain, if I was in your shoes, I'd feel the same. But take a step back. All those missions you sent me on, all the success I brought back to you. Whatever the Colonel's after, it's not about my...
Of course there's more to it, Lieutenant. You lie, conceal and get going.
Ну, будем пробовать ее убеждать.
Lieutenant?
Sorry, Cap, I haven't...
I see. This is bad. I warned you to... You defuse the rebellion.
I don't know what's going on. Someone's trying to bring me down, and they're lying to Victor to do it. Only thing I used to calm the rebellion was a little reason and logic, which the rebels heard. Anything accusing me of anything else is a lie.
All right. Fair enough. But you'll have to make your case to him as well. Victor also states you voluntarily jeopardized the lives of the officials you were charged with protecting. Want to explain that?
How do I explain something that's not... If I put those officials' lives in more danger, I'd have been risking my men's lives and mine as well.
And the claims that you've been hiding vital intel for the sole benefit...
Captain, the only thing...
I know what you've accomplished. Also know what he's saying. And even if he's not a fan of Technomancers, that alone wouldn't motivate. And the list of accusations and the details is long. Like your report on the deserters. Less truth than lies.
If I was in your shoes...
Of course there's more to it, Lieutenant. You lie, conceal intel, and then claim you're just a poor, innocent target? We're at war! Hear me? Which side are you on? Why the hell would the Colonel waste his energy at a time like this on a single damn lieutenant? If he didn't think you could be a real danger. This is your own fault, Lieutenant. Maybe you're just a pawn. I don't know, though. And that's... Unfortunately, he's already called you in, and I can't stop it. All I can tell you is watch your mouth. Behave like the soldier you've been since you joined my company, and you'll come out just fine. I'll plead in your favor if it comes down to that. Let's just hope it doesn't. Get going. Colonel's waiting. Good luck.
There he is!
Zachariah! I was scared we were too late.
For what? What's going on?
There's no time to talk about it. You're in danger. Victor called you in, didn't he?
Yeah, wants to talk to me about...
No, he doesn't. It's a trap. It's just an excuse to get you there so they can arrest you. They will do whatever necessary to make you talk. I don't know what you Technomancers are hiding, but he's ready to do anything to find out.
He's got power, but he wasn't...
Zach, listen to the girl. You stay away from that man. The crook, the pig!
Thanks, Scott. You need to listen to us, Zachariah. I know it's hard to hear, but if you stay here, you're gonna die.
Where would I even...
We take a rover and go. The town's filled with ASC looking for you now, but I know a road that'll help us avoid most of the troops.
Let's go, Zach. We need to go with the girl. No time to waste before that madman gets his hands on you. Now!
А не получу ли я опыт за их нейтрализацию? Надо проверить.
Looks like Victor knew you were on your way out. His men are everywhere. It's gonna be real hard to get out now and fight.
You have done nothing wrong!
Ладно, еще чуть-чуть посмотрим.
We gotta avoid the train station. Know how many soldiers they have
Traitor,
waiting there?
get him!
Let's head toward the barracks instead. The only place they won't expect us to go.
Извините, но я буду прокачиваться, потому что опыт очень нужен.
They're everywhere. Let's head for the slums, the north entrance. Go!
Traitor! Get him!
В общем, я сейчас буду все зачищать, поэтому прерываемся на этом.